Claude to the computer.
This meeting is being recorded.
Good morning. This is the Blaine's World podcast that can be found each week on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and you can also find it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as on the website www.blainesworld.net. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield, and I'm here in my Zoom studio in lovely downtown Fairview, North Carolina. And each week we focus on positive news and information about people and organizations in both Western North Carolina and throughout the country. And toward that end, it's my pleasure to introduce two members of the band, Smooth Goose, and the other member is Smooth Goose's band, and the two members of the band are Zach Knox and Bray Dickerson, and you can wave to all your fans and friends who are watching this, guys. So if you're watching, that's Zach up top. Zach, it's Zach Knox, not Burning Sage Yoga, but we sold that.
Yeah.
Right, okay, but it's Zach Knox and Bray. And I should mention, the group is, I kind of love the name, but Smooth Goose is a Western North Carolina's premier country funk outfit. The music is reminiscent of 70s era Leon Russell, Elvis, but with present day hooks and jams that will keep you dancing all night long. At a time when pretentious, I love this, mustache indie rockers dominate your instant feed, Smooth Goose keeps it real with their fun and witty banter. They never take themselves too seriously. And so let me ask you, first of all, guys, first time I've got to interview on a podcast, in terms of before you got into Smooth Goose, I'll turn to Zach if I can first. Your background is what in terms of, I guess, as a musician? What's your background?
Well, I mean, it started when I was 5 years old, getting into piano lessons. I actually took lessons from Elvis Presley's sister-in-law, which is kind of cool, out in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
Which that's where I'm from. And, there's a lot of music in Austin. And so I, grew up seeing people performing music all the time. And that was just a part of my life growing up. And then around middle school, I've kind of said to myself, no, I'm probably going to be in the NBA. So I need to focus on my basketball career. I'm going to stop taking piano lessons. But then they needed a piano player in the jazz band. And that was a really pivotal moment for me because I realized I could play piano, which was something I was good at. But I could do that with other people because I am mostly an extrovert and was able to be with friends and make music at the same time. And that when I realized that was a possibility, I've just kind of never looked back. And so I've been in school jazz bands, school ensembles, and, outside of education, like just bands for fun, bands for money. I play in wedding bands. I teach lessons. I'm a music teacher now as well at elementary school level. So that's pretty much in a nutshell my musical background.
Do you remember your first paid gig?
I don't remember my first paid gig, but I remember the first one where I found out I had to pay taxes on it, which was at my university. You have to, once you make $600 on something, that's when you have to start paying taxes. And they cut me a check for $600. And I was like, oh no, I have to pay taxes on this now. And so that was back at Southwestern University playing the street dance to welcome the freshmen.
Okay. But I guess the good sign is that you were making money, so that's better than the alternative, not paying
taxes.
Yeah,
it was great.
And Bray,
sure.
I'll ask you the same kind of thing. Your music background is what?
So very similar in the sense that I started playing guitar when I was 7 years old. I got my first guitar and, just was so obsessed with it that I taught myself to play. I never really wanted to do the lesson route. So I just kind of taught myself to play. And, like in school, all throughout school, I chased down all the music I could. I was in band, I was in jazz band, I was in marching band, and I did a lot of percussion throughout school. So I got to learn the whole rhythm side of everything while I was playing guitar at home. And then, got into a slew of other instruments. And it wasn't until later in my life I realized you gotta put your 10,000 hours into one instrument to be good at it. So I started dumping it all back into guitar and started a couple bands when I was young. I was in a band when I was 12 years old called Caution Children at Play, and we played, like the Apple Festival and these local gigs. We were being booked mostly because we were cute. It was like fun watching 12-year-olds cover Bad Company. And So yeah, I've always been an obsessed guitar player and spent most of my extra time just picking around, and ended up teaching myself how to play and write songs and that kind of thing. So
Question, in terms of, you mentioned you taught yourself to play. Did you ever take music lessons?
yeah, so I had one guitar lesson back in the day. It was over at Smiley's Flea Market in Fletcher. They had this guy, and he taught me the riff of Sweet Home Alabama. And at the time, I did not have the palate to appreciate Leonard Skinner like I do now. And so I got out of there, and my dad was like, "How was it?" And I was like, "I don't think I want to. I think I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to figure this out on my own." So I did have one lesson, and it lasted about 45 minutes.
Wow, very cool. Let me ask you this. Is it possible also for people now to, without lessons, to learn stuff on YouTube, or do you do that at all?
Oh yeah. I mean, nowadays, especially, trying to find new licks or, new places to go creatively, YouTube's massive. I would say that, anybody who wants to learn could find almost any of the information they need on the internet nowadays.
So have you ever posted anything, or Zach, have you ever posted anything on YouTube in terms of teaching others?
No, not really. I was actually thinking about doing a spoof lesson to promote for Happy Land I know we'll be talking about that soon, but hey, I know you're trying to learn the chords to the Happy Land theme song. Here they are. But no, I do use them sometimes, but I haven't posted my own. No.
Okay, that'd be so cool to do that. And the same thing I asked Zach Bray. Do you remember your first paid gig? Was that when you were 12 years old?
No. I don't imagine we were getting paid at all. We were probably begging to play for anything. The first times I really remember getting paid were after high school. When I was in a band that we played just a few gigs together called Who the Funk, and we played downtown Asheville a few times, and those are the first few times I remember getting paid. And it was probably, I think we split $200 between 5 of us.
Well, the thing I love though, Graham, I'm surprised to say that, because I thought you just played for the exposure, just to be heard. It's great. People hear you, Bray. You don't have to pay. I love it, right, Zach? They don't have to pay musicians, and then you mentioned, Bray, I love it. You just said that you get $200 for 5 of you, and that doesn't include the practice, the hours, the travel, the transportation. You probably made minus 37 cents, an hour. But people don't realize that. It's just incredible. Even to this day, that musicians get paid. My God. Zach, one of the things I love about Magnetic, and I believe in it strongly, is Magnetic at least pays. They don't have a lot of money to pay, but at least they believe in the principle. You're entertaining, you should get paid. It's not just for the grace of whatever. So Zach, I got to know you, I guess, a couple of times. I've seen Smooth Goose, a couple of things at performances you've been at. And then also, I was so impressed. You also have done a couple other shows at Magnetic, or the recent one was what, where you were doing music?
Yeah, Algorithm and Blues.
Right.
Almost a year ago. It was March 2022, right? Yeah, that was last year. Yeah, March 22. That was really fun. Same director, Jason Phillips, and we had a great time. I got to do, the musical interludes between each sketch. Got to write some spoof songs. Nothing like, I couldn't claim that everything I did was 100% original, because most of it was like ripping off a popular song and changing the lyrics, try to be funny, kind of Weird Al style. But that was a really fun experience. It's one of my favorite things in the world, doing theater, especially comedic theater of any kind, where I'm behind the piano and they give me kind of just free license to they're like, we just want something spooky right here. And for 15 seconds, give me spooky. And I'm like, yes, I can do that. And then they're like, all right, so give us dramatic for 20 seconds right here. Just those kind of very vague directions. And I get to take it kind of wherever I want. I love doing stuff like that. And that was Algorithm and Blues for sure.
It was so much fun though. Was that the first time you ever done anything like that?
The first time I'd done is like a sketch comedy kind of show, and that was my first time ever having a speaking role in a theatrical production. I've done a few times, like played the piano player in a play where all my lines were sung and all I did was play piano and sing, which comes naturally. And I've participated as a band leader or accompanist or pianist for several musicals, a lot of Disney stuff, Grease, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, some things like that. But yeah, as far as like a sketch comedy, kind of free to be me, that was a first. That was a lot of fun.
And same thing, Bray, too. Have you ever been in any theatrical stuff like that?
No, I've never done any theater. You know, this is my first endeavor into that. So it's been, you know, awesome to have Zach with me, because Zach does have some previous experience. He's definitely been like, dude, it's cool. This is how this works. And this is how that works. Cause I had no understanding of it. So Zach's been my guiding hand through the theatrical side of it, but it is a really awesome kind of different way to look at music when you're writing for others to act it out or sing it out. It's a totally different experience than just writing a song.
And Bray, I understand too that Zach has another connection to the theater. I think he has kind of a tie into somebody else who has a little bit of a theatrical background. You know what I'm talking about, Zach? Or are we talking?
I think you might be talking about my wife, Jamie Knox.
Beautiful Jamie Knox.
So she brought you into the theater world a little bit?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's we met in the theater, actually doing kids theater. She directed The Little Mermaid and I was the accompanist for it. And that was like a beautiful semester under the sea together. And yeah, it was awesome. Our first kiss, I had Kiss the Girl stuck in my head.
Well, I'm going to teach you something here, and I will, because I'll ask you, I'll put you on the spot. So how long have you been together with Jamie?
We've been married almost 10 years. Our nine-year wedding anniversary is coming up in April. And we've been together, 11 now. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're going to owe me for this, but ask me how long I've been married.
Oh man, how long have you been married?
Not long enough. And if I see you with Jamie, don't let Jamie see this. And when I see you next with Jamie, I'll ask you how long. One of the great lines, I'm telling you, you're going to owe me if you use it. Right. Remember it. Okay.
Deal.
Not long enough. So talk a little bit about that then. So you have the musical background, and then all of a sudden, you decide what happened? You decide to write a play or do a music, is this a Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland thing that let's get together and do a play? What happened?
Are you saying like how did Happy Land come together?
How'd you get the idea to do this musical?
Well, we had a collection of songs that sort of had like a common theme. And then somewhere back around the pandemic time, we both got into, or we're listening to a lot of Harry Nilsson and the Point, which is, I guess, not quite a rock opera, more of a concept album. But we were listening to that and talking to each other about it, and we're like, we should do something sort of like that. And we wrote the Happy Land theme song, and we're like, hey, some of these songs we've been doing kind of would fit in this story. And we sort of started telling a story in our heads, and we started, when we started playing live shows again, when people were going out and about again, we would play the Happy Land theme song and say, hey guys, we have a rock opera, like, check it out. Here's part of the story. Here's some of the songs. And, you know, we're friends with a lot of people from the Magnetic and people on the board over there. And so they come to our shows, and I think one of those shows they kind of pulled us aside. I don't remember if it was Katie Jones or Jason Phillips or who it was, but they're like, you really have a rock opera? And we're like, yeah, we really have a rock opera. and so that's kind of how it came to be a real thing instead of just this nebulous idea.
And Bray, I guess that started about a year ago, or how long did it take to put this whole thing together?
Yeah, I would say, I guess about a year ago. I mean, that's not a bad timeline. Me and, like Zach was saying, me and him, as we do in Smooth Goose, we always are kind of coming up with these, you know, skits between us that, you know, we talk about things on stage where people are like, is this real? Is this not real? And we're really just riffing off of each other and having a good time. And so we used to joke like, yeah, we've got this rock opera. And then in reality, we were writing it, you know, kind of behind the scenes, but we didn't really think that would turn into what it's turned into now. And it was people who heard the music, and like Zach said, and they approached us and said, hey, like, is this a real thing? And we're like, yeah, of course it is. You know, of course it's a real thing. And so here we are now.
Well, even to your credit, I was impressed that you've been together how long as a group?
About 6 years.
Yeah,
About 6 years.
which is a very nice run for a group to be. And the amazing thing, you're still speaking to each other. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Zach's one of my best friends in the whole world.
Okay.
Hell
Let
yeah.
me ask you two. We'll give a shout out. So it's two of you. You have 4 people in the group. Who are the other 2 guys, Bray?
So we've got Tyler Mack, who's a fantastic bass player and an incredible horn player and just great all-around musician. He's in some other bands. Shout out Super Tight out there, which Zach also plays with, and Random Animals. They've got a bunch of other musical projects that he's tied up in. Very talented guy. And then we've got Will Miller on the drums. Will Yams, my froggy brother. He's going to get that. Yeah, he's also in several groups, including Super Tight. So it's kind of like a family network of bands. Those few bands right there, we're like brother sister bands or whatever you'd call it. But Will Miller and Tyler Mack, they're absolutely awesome.
Well, it sounds like the 2 of you probably also need roller skates in terms of getting from one gig to another, and then rehearsal. And with playing multiple bands, it probably keeps you busy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And rehearsals. Talk about that too. A lot of people don't realize it. How often do you rehearse?
So uniquely, and this is one of the fun things about the band, is that because we've been together for so long and we have this catalog of music, whenever we brought Will and Tyler in, me and Zach are so acquainted with this music that we do everything very much so on the wire. So when we play a live show, we might play a song different every time you see it, right? We're playing it not from memory, but we know the song. And so we sent them the catalog. We were like, look, here's the breadth of the catalog of what we've written and what we do. And they kind of went off of a lot of that music that we have on file to kind of learn the songs. And every now and then we do meet up, Experience Music in Asheville is an awesome place to go practice. We meet up there sometimes and go over new stuff, but for the most part, they're both so talented. They were able to come in just from hearing all the recordings, and we play most of our gigs unpracticed, which is where you get some of that wild, fun banter from, because we're all on the wire. We're all out on the tightrope.
Now,
Those guys do their homework. That's
now,
great.
do both of you also, so you write songs as well, is that correct? You write your own stuff? So ballpark, I don't know, do you write them together or separately? How does that work? The music.
So I would say that, a lot of the songs I've written, I've, been writing a lot of my life. So whenever me and Zach got together, I already had this giant body of work that I wanted to show him. And then so much of our new stuff is me and Zach, co-writing this stuff. I always say that I'm kind of the lyrics guy, and Zach's always the he's like, hey, let's take it up here into this part, and let's add a roll here and do this. Like Zach always adds all the flash and the great key changes and stuff like that. He really knows how to zing a song up and make it something great. And then every now and then Zach does lyrics with me too. So our newer stuff is very much so become 50-50 in a lot of ways.
Ballpark, how many songs have you written?
Ballpark?
Yeah.
200 maybe. Just, I would say 200.
Zach, same thing?
Oh, I consider myself very much less. Yeah, I'm less of a songwriter, and I would consider myself more an arranger, producer kind of mindset. So yeah, maybe 50 in my life, maybe.
And I asked, I'm Bray off the air, but if I can ask you to punch up, can you show maybe a couple of Instagram clips or a couple of things you could maybe show us, get a feel for what music is like?
I got a couple of clips here. None of them are particularly super long, but let me grab one of these.
Just so people get a feel for the music, it'd be cool.
Sure. So do I need to do anything special to get this up there?
No, I think
that.
you have to click it. Yeah.
Click my screen or the recording?
No, not recording. You should just click your screen, I think. I gave you permission to share. Hopefully we'll be able to get this going.
Little green button down the bottom says share screen.
Okay, I gotcha.
Okay, I'll show you hopefully we don't have anything on the screen that we don't want to see. So I've
No.
done that too, Zach. You know.
Yeah, close those extra windows.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, as Brad's trying to figure this out, let me have Zach. We'll just start talking a little bit and talk to me a little bit about the musical. So, first of all, how do you come up with a name for it?
Well, we knew we wanted to have like a geographic location for this main character to be, and it was a place where everyone was relentlessly, suspiciously happy all the time, right? So the name Happy Land just was boom, easy, right? There's like a reveal later too, where it also, that name makes a lot more sense when you see the end of the play also. But so we knew that, the name Happy Land is perfect for this place where our protagonist begins their journey, right? So that was how we came up with the title and that theme song. And then from that, we knew our protagonist is questioning their place in Happy Land. Like, toxic positivity can be a thing in our culture. I'd say that and just the downsides of capitalism are some things we take shots at in this work. As in our American life, a lot of times it's just like, hey, just smile and show everyone how happy you are and keep working and keep making money until you die, right? And so that's what we're poking fun at, or poking holes in, hopefully.
Okay. And we'll come back to you. We have we got a couple of clips, I think, that Bray was able to show. And so this is, Bray, this is clips of you in rehearsal, or what is this?
This is us at a live gig.
Cool.
All these clips I have are just, recent gigs of ours, just little clips that we get sent from people in the crowd. It's from their point of view.
Okay, so can you play just maybe a couple of them? I think you have to click play. Okay, Bray, let me jump in here. Why don't you get out of that for a second and come back to me, Bray?
Yep.
So close it down if you can.
Gotcha.
Come back to the screen. We're having a little technical difficulties here, but I think
the audio was less than ideal.
They sound a lot better in person, so we'll have you, Bray.
Sorry, I'm trying to get back.
Okay, but come back to the main screen if you can just get out of that Zoom. I think this is, if anybody's watching, you just see a big Zoom screen and you see Bray and Jack off to the right. So if you can get out of that, I think. Well, let me see if I can get you out of it. This is.
You did get a good shot of the goose hats that we. I think there was a goose head on the mic stand there, which was kind of cool.
Okay.
We've done a few gigs where we wear the goose hats, which is always a lot of fun.
Cool. Is that part? Is there an official outfit too, or just the goose hats?
No, we'll always try something a little bit gimmicky, or keep people's attention. Sometimes it's the goose hats. Last time it was bucket hats. We were messing with our drummer at our last gig because he kept trying to sneak the hat off, and we told him, get that thing back on there.
How'd you come up with the name? How'd you come up with the name Smooth Goose?
I think it was the last, after an hour or two of trying to come up with a name, it was the best one we still had on the list. I know we liked the way it's got a great mouthfeel to it, because you do those double O's twice. So you got Smooth Goose, and it feels nice in your mouth, but it's also a little bit silly, which we're like a little bit silly, so we felt like it was appropriate.
So was that always the name of the group, Smooth Goose?
I think we did one gig as a Nude Function.
Nude Function. Yep. We did one as Nude Function. And that was at a house party. So, that was
appropriate.
It was a big house party. Yeah, it was awesome, actually.
So in Happy Land, I got a little feel of the story, Zach. If you could just then maybe give a Reader's Digest version of the summary of the play. So I get they're taking pot shots at a lot of different things. And it's, by the way, is protagonist Is that modeled after you or Bray?
Well, that's a great question. I don't think so. No, and well, in some ways, in some songs, I think, yeah, like, because yeah, we both, especially the songs relating to work, I would say is directly related to our experience. There's a few songs about you having to work and having to pay things off and just like, struggles of trying to make it. So I would say those parts probably are. But I would also say our protagonist is a little more hapless than we are. Maybe not quite as savvy at negotiating interpersonal relationships and their own happiness, I think. I don't know. What do you think, Bladen?
Yeah. I mean, so a lot of the songs that I wrote are from, I like to try to put myself in the perspective of who's in the story. So, me and Zach wrote, Rhonda together, for instance, and that, was just kind of based off of real life experiences versus, One Last Delivery or some of the other songs in there that are really in the from the point of view of the protagonist to kind of move the story along, as to where some of those other songs in there were from real life experiences from my end or something, so there's a little bit of both in there, for sure.
And in the play Magnetic, who plays the protagonist?
We have two casts.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, right. Who are the two?
There's double cast: Dwight Childs and Morgan, who is awesome. She's amazing.
Awesome. Morgan's the best.
Yeah, I was wondering too. I saw that because we're going, I think, this coming Sunday or next Sunday. How come the two cast? What was the idea behind that?
That was our director Jason Phillips' idea, which I think is really smart in the these post-COVID times. In case anybody is getting deathly ill, we don't have to cancel. We'll have backup, right? And also our protagonist in particular sing a lot. We kind of, not being professional, musical writers and being, more of just like two guys in a rock band, we're used to singing like all the songs the whole time. However, once you have like a 10-person ensemble, we kind of had to figure out ways to spread the singing around with the whole cast and everything. And so even after doing that, the protagonist sings a lot. So their voices are going to be pretty worn out after a gig, after a performance. So having that A night, B night gives them a chance to rest their voices a little bit too, so they're not totally fatigued by the end of a run.
Is it Morgan Miller?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah, very talented. I mean, both of the two leads are fantastically talented folks.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
So you had, I guess there are 10 people in the play and are 10 different on each night, or they all some overlapping?
No, so it's the same 10 people, and like when Dwight is the protagonist one night, the next night they'll be playing different characters throughout the whole thing too. So everybody's in the performance all night, but their roles will change depending on if it's an A night or B night.
And talk about the process a little bit, and Bray, I'll have you jump in on this as well. But one of the cool things about Magnetic is that this is one of the plays in the play development program or something that it like evolved over a year period of time. Is that what happened? That when you first had the idea, then it's been kind of workshopped and you've been working on it for quite a while. Is that correct?
You remember when our first meeting was with Magnetic, Zach? Was that, I guess, about 8 or 9 months ago or a year ago?
Yeah, it was last spring sometime.
So
we
had this meeting. We had this meeting where I basically had to pitch the idea of Happy Land, and it's a pretty complex, wild story with all kinds of wild characters. And so it's a real mouthful. And I remember just talking for it was the longest 20 minutes of my life, and just talking for 20 minutes and going, I hope to God these people have a clue what I'm trying to get across to them, and they don't think that I'm like, drunk or something, just rambling in here. And that's what's awesome about the Magnetic is they've gotten it from day one. They saw what we were getting at, and they've worked with us hand in hand to turn this into what it is now.
That's one of the things I think is cool, Bray, about Magnetic, is that they constantly looking for new products, new projects, and new shows. And so this will certainly be in that category. And Jamie, you might have the list in front of you, but can you just share some of the other folks in this? So I know Dwight and Morgan are absolutely great. Who else is in this show? Or some of the other names of the folks?
Yeah, so we got some fantastic people playing the boss. We got Paula and Sharvis Smith. They're both playing the boss on different nights. They're amazing. We've got Quinn and Elise are playing Rhonda. They're both fantastic and both bring very like different spicy levels to the Rhonda character. We got Gina, Bill, Tiffany,
Evan.
Okay.
Evan. Yeah, man, we got some amazing people in this.
And a lot of them in there, just really cool folks. Talk about, if you have it in front of you, Zach, when is the show going to open and how long it's going to run and how to get tickets, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so we open February 10th, which is Friday. That'll be our first opening night. Then we run that Saturday evening and Sunday matinee. Then the following weekend, we've got a Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, another Sunday matinee. And then the following weekend, it'll be a Thursday, Friday, and we'll close. I think that's February 25th, that Saturday. Now, if we sell out all those nights, we might extend one more weekend. So, go buy those tickets now. If you're listening, go get them. Get them now because they are going to sell out.
But and by the way, the website address is, if you would.
Yeah, magnetictheater.org. You go there and you'll see get tickets right there on the landing page. Scroll down a little bit. Upcoming events, Happy Land. That's the first one. We're opening their season.
Okay.
This will be the first one in the 2023 season.
And she mentioned, by the way, that Magnetic Theater, you spell it with R-E. So it's the theater, Theatre, I think they use it, right?
Good point. I always spell theater that way. Because
okay. But one of the things, you kind of kidded about it, but I should encourage folks to get tickets early. So I know we're trying to go the opening weekend. There were very few seats left, even when we got tickets a while ago. So everybody says it, Ray, get tickets early, a lot of tickets, but Magnetic doesn't have a big theater to see shows in. And so if you want to see this, get tickets early, you're going to find yourself shut out. Bray, let me ask you, after the run of this Happy Land, what are some of the things in the future, if you can share, that you might be working on? Or do you have anything else you can tell folks?
Yeah, sure. So I know that, as far as Smooth Goose goes, we've definitely got a lot of recording planned. We want to get a lot of this material down and out to people. We would love to make the Happy Land record. And we plan on maybe even doing some fun, crowdfunding or something like that, where people can, help fund that album. And that's part of what Happy Land, the rock opera is showing people, what Smooth Goose is, why we're different from other bands, and some of the music that we hope to get recorded. Outside of that, I've got a solo project, kind of a secondary persona, if you will, Dick Dickerson. He comes out at night. He plays songs. That's me. You either get Bray or you get Dick. But I got my own solo thing, Dick Dickerson. I'm hoping I've got a whole record that I've recorded that I'm really just kind of waiting to get through the Happy Land stuff and have the time to promote that. And I'll start playing some more solo stuff, playing and maybe even with Zach will show up and do a few Dick Dickerson shows. But I want to get that off the ground as well. And that'll give me a place to do a lot more of my songwriting, that doesn't make it to Smooth Goose or that we don't use. There's this plethora of, I've got 200 songs on my phone recorded on there that I need to sort through and make into stuff. So I plan on doing a lot of that as well.
And do me a favor, when you get close to that, or after we get through Happy Land, get in touch with me. Let's do another show, or we'll just do it. No offense to Zach, we'll get him the hell off the screen, and you and I will talk and really talk about some stuff, and we'll get the video going, and we'll show some of that stuff as well. So keep me in mind. And Zach, the same question, after Happy Land, which is, I guess, keeping you just a little bit busy, what's next?
Well, something me and Bray just talked about last night, and I'm going to say it now in public, so it's going to be a real thing. We're going to release a few singles as soon as possible, get those out there on Spotify and up our get our content up to par, because we've gotten really close with a lot of recordings and haven't finished a lot of things, but we're gonna get a few tracks, the best tracks out there for people to listen to, anywhere and everywhere. Then I think in May, hopefully May 13th, sometime in May, we're gonna have a big show at Boojum as well. Maybe have some fun themes with that, with Smooth Goose. But then, we've got a few other projects in the works too. I know Super Tight's got a big festival. We're playing at the Boonerang Festival in June, which will be really fun. And then we got another musical idea in the works that hopefully will be coming out sometime in the next year. Kind of more Asheville-centric musical that'll have some speaking parts in it too. Less rock opera. Give us the band a chance to like take a break. That was one thing I learned from this process. Two things I learned from this process. We're gonna put dialogue in there so we can relax our fingers for a minute, sit back, drink some water instead of constantly playing. And I'm gonna write some parts for my wife and my child to be in the show so that I will be able to see them when we're doing a big production like that, instead of not being able to hang out with them for a month.
Okay, very exciting. One last thing you gave me an idea for, even though I already got my tickets, but it looks like that if folks want to do something cool on Valentine's Day, you have a show on, what's it, the 14th? Is that in the run, I guess? We just look.
I think that's a Tuesday or Wednesday, unfortunately.
Oh, is it? Okay, then they can't.
Yeah,
okay,
but you can give your loved one a ticket to Happy Land on the 14th and then come hear us on the 16th, 17th, 18th, or 19th.
Yeah.
Right. And I should ask both of you, Bray, if folks want to find out a little bit more, I guess, about the band. First of all, I was at the Facebook page. If folks want to keep in touch with you via Smooth Goose, what's the best bet?
So, if you want to see some stuff from the past and see kind of our history, you can go to YouTube and type in Smooth Goose. You're going to find a lot of cool videos on there, some videos from concerts and stuff like that. If you want to follow what we're doing right now, you can go to Instagram is really where we're keeping up the most right now on Instagram with Smooth Goose. Just you can type in Smooth Goose.
Smooth Goose Music on Instagram.
Oh yeah, Smooth Goose Music. We also, have a Facebook page, Smooth Goose, and we make events for all of our shows on Facebook so that you can RSVP or see who's going and that kind of thing. We want to get a website up and running. We don't have that yet, but right now, as far as Instagram and Facebook, the normal places you could find everybody, we're on there.
And how about Bray Dickerson? Folks want to just track you.
Yeah, you can just type in Bray Dickerson, and I do a lot of my own solo stuff on there. I'm always posting Smooth Goose stuff on there as well. And if you want to find the elusive, strange Dick Dickerson, you can even find him on Instagram. He's got about 50 followers, and he posts a lot of videos of playing music and stuff too. So it's out there. I
have to put that down.
And Bray Dickerson's on Spotify as well.
Yeah. I've got 2 records out. I put out myself on Spotify, and a pretty great Christmas single. I don't want to brag, but I made this Christmas song because nobody else did it, so I had to do it, called Christmas Day. Go check that out. But yeah, I got 2 albums out. One's called Electric Mountain, and the other one is called
something else.
That's all for now. That's what
okay.
That's all for now.
Great title.
Both very different, recorded in Asheville, and self-produced and self-released. So check those out if you want to hear more about what we do.
And Zach, same thing too. If folks want to track you down, they can track you down through Smooth Goose. But what else is the best way to find out about some of the stuff you do?
I would go to Smooth Goose Music on Instagram is probably the best way. Other than that, check me out at a Super Tight show or at a Sidecar Honey show. That's about it. Okay, and more importantly, come see the show and you'll get to see a lot more about it. Yes, if you come to Happy Land February 10th through February 25th, that's the best way to come find me. I'll be at the Magnetic Theater all month. Okay. Come get a shirt. You'll become a fan. Oh, that shirt too. You'll become a fan. Yeah. Hey, thanks, guys. This is great. Look forward to seeing you next week. Blaine, thank you so much for having us. Nice meeting you, Bray. Speak to you guys. Okay.